Hello everyone, welcome to episode 17 of the Time In podcast. Today we will be discussing an independent baking business called Bakes and Graze with a good friend of mine, Phillipa. Phillipa, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining on. And as per usual, I am joined by my fellow co-hosts and partners in crime, Bundy and Ewan. Boys, how are you doing?
Bundy first.
I'm alright. I'm been running about quite a lot today, but I'm here. I'm alive.
You weren't going to miss an episode on food, mate. That was the definite. How about yourself, Ewan?
I'm all good, thanks, Craig. It feels like, it's been ages since we've done this. I mean, it's been almost 6 minutes since we last recorded.
6 minutes since we last.
It's actually drove me to the point where I've got a beer for this one. It's actually
well,
still warmish, but it'll do.
That was going to be my next question. Ladies first, Phillipa, what are you drinking?
Oh, you're going to be really disappointed, especially with how we know each other, but I've got a cup of tea.
What?
Oh, that's fine. That's
I know.
Amaretto tea or?
No, just standard, strong builder's brew English breakfast tea.
Nice.
Breakfast tea at night, that's what I like.
Yeah, well, saving it for a Friday night tomorrow, so probably wise.
Good call.
Happy days. You're on. What beer are you on, my man?
Wife beater. No, I'm kidding, Stella.
Stella. One day you on the water, the same as me.
Again, for the second week in a row, I'm treating myself to some diluting juice.
Wow, you're splashing it.
Ooh.
You're just showing off now.
You guys have got some fucking making up to do once this gets going.
I know.
And by the way, yes, before you ask, it is Robinson's.
Oh,
me. Just before we get started in all things baking with Phillipa, I'm just going to touch on our sponsors. Starting off, Bundy, could you give us a bit of a lowdown on all things Rogue Energy, please?
I can indeed. So Rogue Energy is our newest sponsor, and very happy to be working with them. They do a number of different products, but they are an energy drink brand essentially that can come in the powder sachets. You mix them with a certain amount of water depending on what the volume you're putting in, and energy as you go. But yeah, they have multiple flavours. You can go on www.rogueenergy.com and use our discount code, which is all capitals Time In Podcast, for 10% off any of the products on there. They have just released a new flavour called Dragon Fruit Mango. Nice, refreshing, but mild. It's not too sweet. Give it a try.
Tell you a weird thing about Rogue. You know when you try these energy drinks that leave a horrible aftertaste? I find that Sneak and Rogue are the only two that don't do that.
Yep.
Fuck you, G Fuel. But,
there's also no sugar in them.
Exactly. It's not got any of the shite. It's just vitamins, hundreds of caffeine, which is what you need for a long session of work or gaming, and it's probably better for you than coffee.
Yeah, and they have like their energy side. They also have the hydration side as well. So it's not really too much energy. It's more kind of obviously to
like
keep you hydrated. Exactly. And then they have the extreme, which is very large amounts of caffeine. So I'm staying away from that one because my heart would explode.
You're banned from that one, mate.
That's the one you take if you don't want to blink for an hour.
Awesome, cheers for that. And our second sponsor is Crusoe Rum from the guys at London Distilling in Fife in Scotland. Crusoe Rum's only been launched over the last 2 weeks and is already hitting headlines. Ian Brown, who's the head distiller, has been all over social media, all over the news, and he's got something that's very, very exciting. For anyone who's a fan of spiced rum, it's very easy to drink on its own, works really well with your choice of mixer, but it's also very, very versatile in the way in which it's used in cocktails, because it's not only a very sweet liquid, it's also very light in texture. If you're into your sort of grungy sort of branding, sort of Sons of Anarchy-esque, it makes for a great gift. Once you actually see the product, you'll see how that branding crosses over really well. You'll be able to access all their details on londondistilling.com. However, London is spelt the Scottish way, not traditionally the English way, which is Lundin. We are currently working on a discount code with Ian, and we'll get that to you in the next few weeks as well. So that's it for sponsors. Ladies and gents, are you ready to talk about bacon?
I feel like this is going to be like a very, very interesting episode because like I feel like I'm the wild card of the group, but I also very much enjoy cooking and baking, whereas I know that the both of you have absolutely zero experience with cooking and baking. So for once, I might be able to hold a conversation here.
Phillipa's in charge on this one, though, mate.
She is.
It's tough competition because I think the only things I can make are toast, toasties, cereal, pizza, and if I'm really concentrating, a stir fry.
No, I always say if you can read, you can bake. If you can follow a recipe, if you can read, you can follow a recipe. If you follow a recipe, you can bake.
Have you never seen the programme Nailed It, Phillipa?
No.
That if you watch that on Netflix, that kind of gives you an idea of people's ability in baking. But do you want to give us a bit of? Do you want to give us a bit of an introduction to what Bakes and Graze is and how it works?
Yeah, so it's essentially just a business I started through Instagram, and it's quite literally the branding is in the name. So it's baked goods and grazing boxes with baked goods in. So predominantly what I do with the grazing platters, so it's a mixture of kind of traditional kind of smaller baked goods, so cookies, brownies. I kind of do them bespoke to whatever the customer wants, but also kind of followed on from that, have started doing kind of more celebration cakes, birthdays, anniversaries, that sort of thing. But yeah, the kind of grazing boxes are where the main business is.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. How did the passion begin? Because I know traditionally with cooking a lot comes from family. What got you into sort of the baking aspect?
Yeah, as you say, it's probably started when I was younger, cooking with both my grandmothers, so both my dad's mum and my mum's mum. Both very different styles of baking. My dad's mum was very like the kind of front cover of Good Housekeeping type grandmother. Like you went round, she had all of the fancy equipment, very much, knew exactly every single recipe by heart. Whereas my mum's mum she's Irish to start, so very much more bung it all in, see how it goes, more kind of a crumble apple pie, whereas my other nan was very much more cakes and everything that needed a lot more precision.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my earliest memories. And then I was through secondary school, took food tech as an option, just because I've kind of always known myself to be in the kitchen. Yeah. Just again, didn't really want to do all kind of hardcore subjects. Wanted something as a bit of a creative release, and did really well in that. And then got to the point where all my friends were looking at universities. I knew I didn't really want to go on straight into a job, but I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. Started looking into various BTECs, that sort of thing. I didn't really come across anything that I resonated with, and then looked at the what was formerly the Birmingham College of Food, which is now University College Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And they had a Bachelor of Science degree that was called Food and Consumer Management. So it seemed a lot more at my street. I knew I kind of wanted to maybe take a bit more of a business course, but didn't really have enough confidence in taking like a core business course. And this was essentially a business management degree with specifically kind of focused towards the food industry. Yeah. So I went to the opening day there, and it just looked so much fun. It was kind of like a nice balance between practical food work and more kind of coursework, exam based. But it kind of we went through what I'd be doing within the first year, and it was quite a lot of practical stuff. So went through like key techniques, worked with poultry, meats, like a whole different side of cooking that what I've been used to. I'd been very used to baking, but it kind of strengthened my I guess it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone a bit and kind of strengthened my skills more towards cooking. And I think that's kind of where it developed really. Alongside university, I started working in a gastropub as well, and that was kind of my first real exposure to how really good food could be. The place where I used to work was Michelin recommended. It wasn't quite Michelin star, but could be found in the Michelin guide. So I think it just kind of went hand in hand from there. It's always been there.
No, that's really a good insight to how you started to. Yeah, I have to ask
a question. Sorry,
on you go, Ewan. Go for it.
Do you feel like the university degree prepared you for that job, like working in that field? Because I find a lot of people, they would do a degree and then say, it didn't really help me for what I was doing, but that actually sounds like it was tailored perfectly to that niche field that you're working in.
Yeah, I think because I always had the interest there, it kind of went quite nicely hand in hand. I only really was at university about 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So I did the job alongside, although I was part-time, I was probably in truth working more hours than I was actually at university. So yeah, it definitely went hand in hand. And I mean, I would always find myself kind of wandering into the kitchen, chatting to the chefs and just picking their brains more than anything. And I definitely think a lot of my interest that's kind of carried me through my more kind of my latter years, I guess, has been due to the kind of people that were around me at that time, both lecturers and kind of chefs and kind of like-minded people, I guess, in the industry.
So was the practical theory split about 50-50, or was it more one than the other?
First year, I'd say it was probably 40 practical, 60 theory. And then it kind of became more theory as you went on. Obviously, third year, you have like a dissertation, so that takes up like 90% of your time. So yeah, kind of first year was more learning practical skills. So learned a lot of kind of knife skills and how to literally take a whole chicken and break it up into each component. Did like a shellfish kind of, each week was almost broken into different kind of practical techniques.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because you've almost picked up, straight away from just what you've said, that you've almost picked up part of two trades. So like being a fishmonger and a butcher as well as baking. That's vital.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't quite go into real kind of depths, I'm sure. I know, Craig, you've got a background in that sort of thing, but
right,
it didn't quite
Nando's module.
Yeah, it didn't quite go into that that level. It was literally like a practical a week, and then you do some theory to follow it up. But yeah, it was really interesting insight, and I've definitely carried a lot of the skills that I learned even just through that first year kind of throughout.
There's one thing I've got to ask, and it's kind of off the cuff. What is your opinion on cooking with potatoes? Because I'm going to interject one of our other hosts.
I was just typing this on the screen for Bun to read. I was like, you need to tell her about some of the dishes you've made just so you can discuss this.
So
wait to hear
this, Philippa. So Bundy, would you like to tell Philippa a bit about your diet and your cooking regime with potatoes?
So for the majority of me being alive, right, I was very, very fussy, right, and I liked what I liked, and I never really ventured outside, right, but my mum was always a really good cook and stuff like that, and I was always interested in watching her cooking and everything like that. She always was really good at baking and stuff, and I always liked watching and liked learning, so I knew how to do everything. I just never really done it for myself, if that makes sense, right? So even now, like this is probably the most adventurous I've been, but when it comes to like cooking and what I really like eating, it's really unadventurous. So like, I sent a picture to Craig and Ewan a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, how many roast potatoes do you think I can tackle in one sitting? And they were like maybe like 12, and 30 roast potatoes later, and I'm nearly
3-0.
3-0, and I am nearly dead. And I had this. They were like evidence, and I was like sending them pictures
Lord.
throughout. But the thing is, right, so like because I've been eating these kind of things so much, I'll always try and put different like twists and spins on them. So for those roast potatoes, I'll like make roast potatoes, but I'll put like cumin and paprika and different spices on them before after I've kind of like parboiled them, and then just when they're like on their way, maybe 5-10 minutes to go, I usually cut a wee X, and then I'll maybe put 3 different kind of like cubes of cheese inside, so that in the last 5 minutes it goes like a wee cheese volcano.
Oh my god!
That's
volcano potato.
Oh,
that's a Monday special.
But they're so good, because that's something
that sounds unreal.
It's a side dish. A roast potato was a side dish, right? But I've just made it a main because it is banging, and then. I do really weird things, so I bought 2.4 kilograms of salt and pepper seasoning for Amazon.
Doesn't even crack the top 10 times that you do, but it's close.
But and then I decided I was making like obviously salt and pepper chips and stuff, and then I thought, I'll do salt and pepper roast potatoes, and let me tell you, they were good.
That's an excellent goal when you think.
But that's the thing, because like I feel like my style of cooking is like things that I would enjoy, but then trying to put a really different twist on them. I do like I'll make things that are a bit more like fancy. Sometimes I'll make like a black truffle gnocchi, or I'll have like an aloe pepperoncino and stuff like that, where I'm like really pushing the boat out. But when it comes into me and what I enjoy making and eating, it's usually just simple foods, but try to like make it a bit like more out there, which is really cool. And it's just different because I also, again, this is another weird thing. So I'm vegetarian, right? Have been since I was 3.
Wow.
But when it comes to like cooking, I really enjoy cooking meat, which is really strange.
Yeah.
So
you get a barbecue. He's the best on the grill, 100%.
Which is really strange because I don't eat
Yeah,
it.
by a mile.
Awesome.
But like I always like barbecues, especially. Like I love like if I know there's an upcoming barbecue, I'm pulling marinades out of every single area I can. I'm like, listen, there's going to be some Jamaican jerk. There's going to be some like southern kind of style Texas kind of ones, and then I'm going to go for maybe like a Mediterranean chic and but I don't eat any of it, which is really weird.
I think I know where it goes from. You know when you're doing a barbecue and you're like, I don't know if it's cooked yet. I'll do it a bit more. I'll leave it on an extra few minutes just in case, and so it gets dried out and it gets burnt. You didn't give a fuck because you're not eating it. So if they get food poisoning, fine. It's not me that's stuck in the shitter the next day.
No, but I think it's just like it's because obviously like I really enjoyed watching mums and that kind of stuff cook. She like I always seen, and she raised a point to me one day. She was like, I really like it when you cook things like steaks and stuff, because anyone who tends to, if someone likes a steak well done and you ask them for yours medium, they'll probably put it more towards the medium well side because they don't like medium, if that makes sense. They're sometimes a bit biased, whereas with me, I'm just cooking it how you want it and that's it. And like she was always really like kind of like out there, and that's why she'd cook all these different stuff, and it was, you would never have the same meal twice in a year. Like it was just crazy. And I think that's why, like, because my diet was literally like potatoes, pasta, and that kind of stuff. That's why I kind of like, when I started cooking, I was like, right, how can I take these potatoes and make them into something class?
He could send you pictures he's done it, and it could be chips or roast potatoes every night, and they would look completely different every night.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Parmesan truffle fries are still my favourite so far. Oh my god,
yeah.
But
I mean, you're barking up the right tree here. I'm half Irish, so potatoes.
Are we missing this, Craig? Is this dirty talk?
Well, do you want you and I to leave you two?
Yeah.
Listen,
we could have had a night off.
You are putting good content. Good content.
I just want you to know I haven't even started speaking about the mac and cheese yet, alright? So.
Oh my god.
Well, what I was going to ask. So obviously, Bundy's gave you a bit of insight to the sort of stuff he enjoys cooking. Myself, obviously, with the more sort of seafood background, the only thing I can really cook is seafood. I really like working with weird and wonderful seafood, things like octopus, squid. I like working with whole fish, all that. But apart from that, I'm pretty lost. Is there anything that you particularly? I know we'll get into the bacon side a bit more, but in regards to cooking, is there anything in particular you really enjoy cooking?
That's so hard. I'm quite. I do like experimenting quite a lot. I follow quite a lot of like food pages on Instagram and aimlessly scroll, and I kind of have got into the habit now of saving anything that I like the look of, and it may not even be a recipe. It could just be someone's picture that they've posted, and I'll think, oh, that looks nice, and just trying to experiment myself. I love like Asian food, I love like Japanese, Thai. Usually love a curry, but since I've been wearing a brace, curries don't love me. Love Italian food, pizza, pasta. I'm probably the easiest person to cook for, or vice versa, to try and cook. I quite like being set a challenge. It's interesting hearing you speak. I don't want to call you Bundy, I want to call you your first name, but I don't even know your first name. But
it's a mystery.
For a disclosure, it's not dead.
It's not Ted. Phillipa did ask this before we started recording. It was the first thing she asked. She goes, "Why is he called Bundy? Is it after Ted Bundy?" And I was like, "Well, we'll just leave that now."
I honestly at this point could not tell you it's been that long.
Well,
really,
let's leave it that way. Moving on.
Sorry, as you were saying.
But yeah, I find it really interesting when like one of my best friends is gluten and dairy intolerant, but she's a massive foodie and she experiments so much with food. And I do think dietary requirements, or kind of people that maybe can't or choose not to have certain foods, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, have allergies or whatever, it almost forces you out of your comfort zone. So the way you say you try and make what would traditionally be like a side dish or a part of like an element of a dish and make it the main focus, or make it into almost a main course rather than a side. I think you're, like, as you're saying about being vegetarian since you were 3, definitely kind of forces you to be a bit more experimental.
100%. And same with like being vegetarian in general, I think is quite like something that does that as well, because honestly, that my pet hate is you go somewhere, right, and there's all these really nice dishes, and you look at the vegetarian side, and it's just bean burgers. Bean burgers after bean burgers. If I ever see another bean burger, I will throw up. So that's like, so with stuff like that, so that's when I try and look at things like sunflower burgers or stuff like that, where it's like, it's like one that was actually I tried to kind of steal was Nando's Super Green Burger. Where stuff like that, and it's really really good. And I went with a couple of mates and a couple of times, and they've been like, "Can I try that? Like, is that good?" And they try it and they really enjoy it. So stuff like that, where it's like, because it's the same thing from loads of different places we go out, it really does try to like force you out of your comfort zone, like you say.
One interesting thing to point out is, what you said there about being, you like a challenge, and it's quite good to try, cater to different tastes, if you like, and maybe even needs. Craig mentioned something a while ago. He was talking about a good barman. If you, say for example, you don't like whiskey, they could make you a drink with whiskey in it that you would like because they're a good barman, or they can take your, is it flavour notes that you like, Craig, and then make you a perfect drink. It's almost talking about the exact same thing, but in slightly different disciplines.
It's Regal. You're actually touching on something I'm going to go into shortly, but it was if you go into, like I said, a really strong bar, you won't read off a menu. Go, I want that. A good bartender will say, so what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy? What sort of flavours do you like? And they'll tailor a drink to your flavour profile. It's the same for cooking, Phillipa. You could probably interject better than me. If you give someone who's a strong cook, they can cook tailoring to your needs without you saying, "Oh, I want a fish and chips," or "I want a lasagna."
Oh, 100%. And I was actually, funnily enough, going to touch on that, but I'll save it if you're going to divulge into it later. But yeah, it's, in our job, Craig and I work together. I will quite frequently go into a call and say, the way that we have, you pair flavour to flavour with food. Why don't you do that with drink also?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be kind of like gin and tonic. It should be the flavours of the gin or the botanicals in the gin and the flavours or flavour notes and tones of the tonic.
Well, this interjects perfectly. So, like Philip has already said, we both work together and we work within the alcohol industry, probably more Japanese than anything else, is fair to say, Philippa, would you agree?
Yeah, I would.
My question is, and to kind of give the guys a bit of insight as well, what's your opinions and views with alcohol, with cooking? So what I mean is not just using it as within cooking, because I know you've done some of that already, but kind of how important is it to pair food and drink together? Like a prime example for me, when I was a fishmonger, a lot of what I done was wine pairing with fish. Do you want to digress a little bit? Because I know you actually have some examples where you've used alcohol with cooking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes with the job, really, doesn't it? That, I like a drink as much as the next person. But it does definitely play such an important role within food, in my opinion. It's so evident when you think of when you go out to eat, even, not even the highest tier places, but they're kind of the prime example of it, and they're the ones that make the biggest show of it. Like Craig saying, pairing with fish, if you have something that's really, really heavy and a really bold drink, that's just going to completely overpower the flavour of, fish is generally speaking quite delicate on the whole. If you have something a bit more oily, like a salmon or a tuna or something, then you probably need something to lift that oiliness. But generally speaking, your kind of white fish, shellfish, you want something quite light tasting. And there's so many different flavours and components that you want to draw out of that food, and it really does play such a massive part.
Have you got any examples of things that you've created with alcohol?
I actually know one of your examples, Philippa. Sorry to interrupt,
go ahead.
right?
No,
Because
go
I had a
ahead.
look at your Instagram earlier, and your gin and tonic drizzle cake is
That's what I was alluding to.
is
That's what I was
looking
alluding to.
very, very nice. If you would ever like to
Yeah.
send some to Craig, send two because he'll probably eat one, and then I'll maybe get some of the second
Probably.
one. Aye.
Here we go. How long have we got into the episode? Bring on the fat jokes. That's fine. Come on.
To be fair, Philippa made one before we started, so we need to get that.
She bet you do it, to be fair, aye.
I mean, I am a self-confessed feeder, so I can't really be one to talk. But yes, I'm more than happy to. I haven't actually tried posting any yet, so you guys can be my trial run.
Please.
I'll try and post them up and see if it gets there in one piece, and if not, I'll have to find a better courier.
You know,
So yeah, that was quite a popular one over. So I first started doing this sort of thing over lockdown, as most businesses most new businesses anyway in this current climate had started. So I actually, at the very start of lockdown, was on holiday and got stuck out there for an extra week. So I came back and obviously came back to the world that was lockdown. I think two days after I got back, we were actually put on furlough. So
You planned that well, Philippa, didn't you?
well, no, I clearly didn't plan it well enough, because if I'd have known that 2 days later I was going to be on furlough, I'd have probably stayed out there a bit longer.
Can I just state that we had a conference call that she joined from Bali? And she's like, "Oh, this is so difficult these times with lockdown, etc." Because it was we all knew we were getting furloughed, and we were all sitting there going, "You're still working." Philippa's like, "Oh, it's a shame. I'm stuck in Bali." I won't forget that anytime soon.
oh, that's excellent.
Oh, I know.
I feel sorry for
sorry,
you
not
peasants.
Can I ask maybe a bit of a stupid question?
No, go ahead.
So you know how you were talking about alcohol pairing with different meals and stuff and different foods? You know how you have a steak, red wine goes with steak?
Well, aye.
In general, white wine with fish. I had never tried this before, and I'm no keen on red wine except one decent red wine that's made by monks. But we went out.
Mate.
It's a competitor for Rogue Energy, I'm telling you. So we went out for a steak one night. I had a few pints and stuff, blah blah. Starter. My girlfriend said, "You having red wine with your dinner?" I went, "Why?" She went, "That's what you do with a steak." I was like, I don't know. She went, no, brings out different flavour notes and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I've had this exact steak before. I'll try it. What a difference it makes, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What a difference. I would recommend anybody trying it if they do see on like a menu saying that it should be paired. Originally I thought, that's just trying to get rid of some bad wine or some bad food or whatever. But genuinely it makes a difference to the meal.
I mean, sometimes it is, don't be fooled. Like, pick your place as well, but...
Scrap my advice. If you're at Miller and Carter, no, I'm kidding.
No, but it's true though, because like there's some places, like there's one in LA called the French Laundry, and it's run by like a world-renowned chef, and he does like a very, very varied and very obscure to probably most people's taste a menu. But along with the menu, he'll also then does like wine pairings for every single dish. He'll then also do like palate cleansers and stuff like that as well. And he will sometimes kind of say, so like eat a part of this dish and then drink the wine and then eat another part, because like you'll see the difference and stuff. And it's when you know that someone who is literally a world-renowned chef is telling you this kind of stuff, and then the fact that you can then see it and taste it and believe it for yourself is crazy. And that's why you've got a lot of these Michelin star restaurants and stuff who will do that. But you get a lot of restaurants nowadays as well where what they're kind of doing is one of them up here is that 6 by Nico. So
yeah, we've got one of them as well.
Yeah, so they'll do like so that's the menu for this occasion. This is it. This is your wine that goes with it. Take it or leave it. And these places are doing really well because the food's exceptional. But if you went there and the wine was horrible and it didn't go, it would ruin it. Yeah. So it just shows just how key it can really be when you've got all these things working in tandem.
It's a very powerful thing, and I think Philippa will agree. So with an example of Japanese cuisine, there's certain things that make cuisine taste very Japanese and they use certain ingredients, certain veg. So, for example, ginger is used heavily within Japanese cooking, but you can also tailor a drink to make it more of a Japanese aesthetic. So, for example, if you used a Japanese spirit, say it's a gin or whatever, and you garnish with fresh ginger, you almost create that connection with the food. But it's crazy when you look at wine. Wines are probably the most powerful, I think, with enhancing flavour in food. But even the likes of beer, how popular is it now seeing beer pairing menus with the likes of sort of more pub food? It is a really, really powerful thing.
A good burger with onion rings and chips goes with a nice ale, or if you see, even when you go to an Indian, like a tiger or a kingfisher or cobra,
Yeah,
one of the kind of pints just nicely with a smooth one to cool you down after a hot curry.
It's kind of like what you were saying there as well, Craig. That there is so many really cool ones, and I think like people are starting to actually get into it more as well. It's becoming more of the norm, rather, because I don't think even like not too long ago, I don't think it's something that people would have really went out and actually chose to do, or it would have, if it was genuinely in the more kind of upscale restaurants that you would have seen it. Whereas now it's becoming a lot more kind of readily available. Even places like Viva Brazil and stuff, they'll have like like we'll say like this wine would go well with this if you choose to have this, blah blah blah. So it seems to be more coming into the mainstream anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's Phillipa will be able to answer this better than me, but Phillipa, when you're doing your day-to-day work, obviously we're looking more from the alcohol side. How often do you link that to food pairing menus? Like, how often do you like food to drink?
Like daily. Yeah, almost. It depends on obviously the venue that we're going into. If we're going into bars and they don't really do much food, then it's irrelevant. But yeah, particularly the kind of venues that we're going into, the kind of restaurants, it's imperative. They're the biggest margin that they can make is on drinks. So if you compare that to their food side as well, it's a no-brainer.
Definitely is.
But yeah, it's really interesting kind of the way that, we're speaking about pairings with food and, we wouldn't have necessarily thought how much it plays a part. But I can think back I went to Italy a couple of years ago and, on their menus, they're constantly talking about aperitifs, so things that you have before you eat that prepares you to eat. It almost prepares your stomach for receiving food. And then the same with digestifs that are supposedly
I'm on an aperitif diet, I think, Philip.
I was just, as you said that, I was thinking Bundy could maybe hit 40 roast potatoes if we had one of those to start with.
I'm actually, it's funny that you say that though, because I'm actually the same. We done, like, we've been to Italy a few times, and one of the ones was we done like Sorrento Positano and Amalfi. And in Amalfi, that was like the last one. We went into this restaurant and it was so different because they didn't have menus or anything like that. They just were like, what do you like? And you told them what you like, and then it was just a non-stop barrage of food. But then at the same time, they would bring you like aperitifs, and they would bring you like different like palate cleansers, and they would like different wines, because like that bottle of wine might not be good enough for when this. So you actually you were getting drunk, but then sobering up because you're eating so much. But there was like they kept on putting different bottles of wine on the table and stuff, and then different like. Even stuff like it wasn't limoncello, but stuff that were like little shots like limoncello, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like I am going to be drunk, but then all this food just absorbs it, and you're like, oh, so this is how Italians function.
Before we dwell too much on alcohol, I think this is a good point just to cut for this week's streamer feature. So this week's streamer feature, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Andrea, but you can call me Ale Dream.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's kind of cold in New York.
Yeah, I seen you were in New York. You're the weather in New York can be very, very unpredictable, quite like Scotland. What are you guys sitting at like at the moment?
Right now it's like chilly, but a few weeks ago it was like 70, 80 degrees. So feeling 60-degree weather in like the middle of September is normal, but in the same time it's like weird.
Jeez. Oh. Well, anyway, my first question was going to be for you. Where can people find your stream?
I'm a Twitch streamer, so you can find me on Twitch. The name on Twitch is Ale Dream Game On, which is ALEDREAMGAME GAMEON. Elegum Game On.
Oh, brilliant. Like I said, we'll put all your socials into this episode as well, so the guys will be able to find you from there, which is awesome. How long have you been streaming, if you don't mind me asking?
I've been streaming for about 4 years. I've started on third-party apps, and then I gave a chance to Facebook gaming, and currently I left Facebook gaming to start a new journey on Twitch.
What was Facebook gaming like? That's something I've not really experienced or spoke to many people from. How was it?
So Facebook gaming, it's 2 years old in a way. Well, 2 years new, kind of. It's still new,
Yeah.
and it's still going through trial of era. And since Mixer closed down, all the Mixer partners are actually automatically gets Facebook partnered due to the fact of the Mixer shutdown, because Facebook bought Mixer.
Yeah.
So that actually benefit the Facebook gaming, but with the way to join the Facebook gaming, like it's similar to the affiliate program towards Twitch. There's this level up program where you have to have your page for at least 60 days, have 100 followers, and do a certain amount of hours to reach monetization for your page.
Right, okay, right. Something I've not looked at, but no, that's cool. I imagine you were Mixer before and then obviously...
No.
All right, okay.
I started like on third party apps like Live Me and UpLive and all this stuff, and they try to give a chance for gamers because I used to upload videos on YouTube, but I wasn't so fond of the YouTube streaming. I love still making videos, and I'm still editing content to upload in the future, to promote my Twitch and social media networks. But the thing is, I started Facebook gaming because I already had a page due to the fact that I'm a singer, and I already built a fan base as a singer, and I combined that into my gaming. So if you understand what I mean by that, it's basically some of my fans that like my singing likes gaming, and some fans that like music only likes music. So it had to be like a little balance going on.
Yeah, you've got quite a diverse channel by the sounds of it for people who are appealing to both music and gaming. I would like to pick your brain about music some other time. That would be a good shout, because as you might be able to see, for anyone who can't see obviously the video, there's a lot of guitars behind me. So anyway,
nice.
what sort of games do you play on your channel? Have you got any sort of
I'm a variety gamer, so I play anything, not everything.
Okay.
So what that means is I stay away from a lot of oversaturated games. I stay away from like Call of Duty. I hate Fortnite. I don't play racing because I'm terrible in driving games. I like to give a spotlight to indie games and games that are hidden gems. At the moment, I'm finishing Okami, which is amazing. And after I finish Okami, Batman Day is September 21st. So I'll be debuting Batman Arkham Knight. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to like add in themes to the kind of games that I'm playing for the months. Like October is going to be Scaretober for horror games. November will be Switchvember for Switch games. And then December will be Retrocember, which I will be playing retro video games like Aladdin, Lion King and stuff. So I like to mix it up. I don't like to stick to one game. However, if I do start a game, I must finish it. So you'll be seeing that game on a daily basis until I complete the story.
You sound very organised and well planned. We could do with one of you. So I was going to ask, tell us a bit about your channel. I know you have done already about sort of the music collaboration with gaming, but have you got any sort of goals, or what is it you're working towards at the moment? So
right now I'm working towards Twitch partnership, which is so hard to get like the 75 view average. But I've started Twitch about 6 months ago, and I reached over 2,000 followers, which is amazing.
It's really good.
Due to the fact that I left my Facebook with 10,000 followers, and I'm still trying to, fish my Facebook and switch them to Twitch, which is the most hardest thing to do. Because, when someone is comfortable, they don't want to move. They just want to stay there. They feel safe. They don't want to try something new. But me, I like to take risk. So I took that risk of starting over again from the beginning. And that's definitely my goal, is to get Twitch partner and to get sponsorship with big companies like either Elgato or MSI, Stream Elements. I've been working with, I actually opened my first merch store with them.
Oh, brilliant.
And
well
it's been It's been really cool. If you want to check out the merch, I'll definitely forward you the link.
Awesome. No, I can link all that as well. Like I said, we will link all your socials. It's
Awesome.
crazy. We actually talked recently in just a Just Chatting series on Twitch, and it was how big the jump is from Twitch affiliate to partner, because we've only been doing this a short period of time, especially on Twitch. We achieved affiliate, but we are nowhere near getting partner. So it's good to hear that you're working towards it, and I imagine you'll gain it pretty damn soon, which is awesome. Anyway, moving on. This is a bit of a random one, but it's a good judge of you as a person, and it's, if you had to have a famous person join you in a stream, who would it be and why? They can be dead or alive.
Can it be more than one?
No, you're getting one. That's cheating. You have to pick one.
Oh, one person. Either dead or alive. Okay, wow, that's really hard. Oh man, the thing is, like, certain famous people are not into video games, but there's one person that loves Zelda, and it's Robin Williams. And I love Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Robin Williams was a big, big fan of Zelda. So that would be amazing, like, if he was alive and he's seen one of my Zelda streams. That would have been, like, mind-blowing.
Do you know what's insane? Our last streamer feature said Robin Williams. I'm not joking.
What?
That's insane.
No.
That is
What?
absolutely mad. Obviously a very popular man. I didn't know he was a big gamer. I didn't know he was in Zelda.
He loves Zelda, and one of his children was named because of the game Zelda. So yeah.
I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
Good answer though. 2 people have chosen it, so it must be a good choice.
He's a great comedian too. He'll make my chat laugh if he was watching my stream. So yeah.
I think it's fair to say he's touched as many people in his passing as he did in his life, which is pretty special as well. So,
yeah,
good choice. Final question. Plug away. Where can people find you again? Where are your links?
Okay, so I could verbally say certain links, like my Twitch is twitch.tv/AledreamGameon. That's ALEDREAMGAMEON. You also can follow me on Twitter, which is twitter.com/ALEDREAM__. The 2 underscores are really important. On Instagram, it's at Aledream Gaming Zone, which is ALEDREAMGAMINGZONE. Aledream Gaming Zone.
That's a mouthful. Like I said, all of your links will be in this episode, and it's been awesome speaking to you. So, thanks.
It's been an awesome pleasure.
Awesome. We'll return back to the episode now. Thanks very much. Okay, so we're back. So, Phillipa, I know we've spoke quite a lot in regards to the sort of cooking side. Can you give us a bit more information about Bakes and Graze? Where did the branding come from? Where does the name come from? Can you tell us a bit more about the sort of more baking aspect?
I really hope that when you say the name, because when I read Bakes and Graze, I read it as Bakes and Graze.
So did I.
Well, I'll tell you another reference. Remember earlier when you said Good Housekeeping? Honestly, all I could think of was Step Brothers when they go, what's your favourite non-pornographic magazine?
On 3.
Good Housekeeping.
Good Housekeeping.
We talked about this.
Oh, wow.
We literally did.
We talked about this yesterday on the phone, didn't we?
Yeah, it is in my top 5 favourite films. I love Step Brothers. So
anything
with Will Ferrell in. Yeah, no.
Because it was literally because obviously like I hadn't seen it, but when I seen like the name, I just was like read it and I was like Bakes and Graze. Gotta give me some Bakes and Graze.
See, if you want us to do any sort of marketing work for you, Phillipa, just give us a shout. But yeah,
if you need any sort of marketing work, you can probably do better than this.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, tell us a bit about the branding. So how did you get
I wish I
into
could say it was, watching Step Brothers one night and it just came to me, but unfortunately, it was far more boring than that. No, so as I touched on earlier, over lockdown, I kind of started. It's actually one of my best friends. I've been best friends with her since we were 4 or 5 years old, since primary school. She is a physio in London for the NHS, and she was transferred onto a COVID ward as things first started to get really bad down there. So I was kind of having updates from her every day, hearing kind of all the terrible stuff that she was seeing, and you know, what she was being exposed to and whatnot. And I just wanted to give myself a bit more structure to my day while I was on furlough. So just one day I started doing some baking, and before I knew it, I'd done like 4 different bakes, and it's only me, my mum and my dad that were isolating together. And so wondered how the hell I was going to get through 4 different bakes. Like, I think I'd done 2 different cakes, some cupcakes and something else. So I just put it on my personal Instagram saying, you know, if anyone fancies is in the local area, is on a walk, and fancies picking up some baked goods, I'm going to leave them in my porch, and just hashtagged porch pickups.
That's cool.
And the response was ridiculous. Even just from my neighbours, everyone that lives in my cul-de-sac, I think they cleared it out in about 10 minutes. So then, I just started making it like a daily thing, and decided that I'd just essentially ask for donations for the NHS. So started doing that, and I think I did about 6 or 7 weeks of it, and I think we raised in total, I can't actually put like a direct number on it, because a lot of people donated online, obviously with the transmission with COVID. A lot of people didn't want to give cash, they'd prefer to donate online. A lot of people don't have cash, all that sort of thing. So basing it on the assumption that majority of people did it online, and I had about 350 cash, so I would imagine it would be around the £800 mark that we raised. So
that's really good.
It really did kind of, it was a really nice cause that I was able to do it for, and obviously, like I say, it gave me a bit of structure and purpose, and just really cemented my love of baking. So then we came back to work. We found out that we were coming back to work with less than 48 hours notice, didn't we, Craig?
We did indeed. Let's not comment on that too much. They might be listening.
So, but more in a sense that it put quite an abrupt end to kind of what I was doing over lockdown. But I was constantly getting people messaging me. So I took the decision one day. I was kind of doing, you know, friends and friends of friends baking and whatnot. And just, I set up Bakes and Graze. I think, I can't even remember what I called it to begin with. I didn't give it that name. But just to kind of stop boring all of my personal Instagram followers with all the baked stuff that I was doing. So just to post it on there instead. And then a few people had kind of found the page just through, I think it must have popped up as like a recommended for you page. A lot of my friends are saying, you know, why aren't you turning this into a business? And to be honest, the biggest barrier is that my mum's actually a hairdresser. So she does a lot of her work in the kitchen. And, you know, I can't imagine that people want hair in their cakes. So it's a bit of a health and safety hazard. But fortunately, we do have a big enough kitchen that we can kind of keep to separate parts. So, started doing, my cookies were one of the biggest things through doing the hashtag porch pickups.
I can't imagine why, because it's not like I looked at them and immediately thought, I must have these. So.
Yeah, for those that haven't seen pictures, they're like proper, like thick style cookies, like not kind of the flat cookies, like they are chunky.
Like so you've got your shite bag cookies, right? That are like your like packet of 6 dairy milk cookies that are just average. And
they're
then,
like your like in-store bakery, like supermarket in-store bakery type cookies.
Exactly, right. And then we've got the Michelin star creme de la creme of cookies that's on.
You know what? You guys are buttering me up right to get a platter sent straight out to you. So keep going.
Yeah, keep going. It's working.
You see, you guys listening to who's talking, please. I will give you my address.
One thing I would say, like, and it is amazing, is that when we have work meetings, obviously this is pre-lockdown. A lot of us have travelled quite far. We're all knackered, but the one thing you look forward to is what Phillipa's got in the bag.
And it's Craig's ready to share. So wait a minute. Bundy has opened your Instagram and wow.
It's mental, isn't it? It's absolutely
I didn't
crazy.
have time to go on and look, but holy fuck.
So what the thing is, right, it's one of the ones, you've called this post New Parents Sweet Grazing Box, and it makes me want to have a child so I have an excuse to buy it.
I'm sweating looking at this. Wow.
And do you know what, right? And again,
I
this is
love it.
all credit to you, right? Because, and I don't mean this in a negative way, right? But if you go to the bottom of your page, right? Obviously, like, your presentation's really, really good, and it's proper
How do you even
nice,
get them to
right?
stand up like that?
Exactly, right? But then see when you go to like your lemon and elderflower drizzle
What
cake,
the fuck?
it looks as if like
Doesn't it look real?
do you know what I mean? It's just like I feel like I would be somewhat sad cutting into it, but as soon as I tasted it, I'd be like, "Fuck the
Fuck the
decorations."
rest.
Oh, thank you.
No,
You're
that
very
is that.
kind.
If any, definitely get a link to the Instagram after because
Yeah,
I'm starving looking at this.
Well, it's just not great. The fact that you've got like the last post you've done as well, you've done it deliberately, and I can tell because it's the gin and tonic drizzle cake, right, with the cookies, and I think to myself, do you know what?
Is that Craig's usual order? 6 of each.
Oh, it's a banana loaf, mate. It's a banana
Oh,
loaf.
sorry.
Yeah, he's a banana loaf.
Here's
man.
a question though, right? Because I feel like this is, I don't know if anyone other than people in Scotland would make this, but have you ever made tablet?
No. Tablet.
Jesus.
Right, this is.
Wait,
That's
did you see what is
Right, you.
tablet?
Right, I feel like I need to get on this.
Oh,
Tablet.
honestly.
We can send you a sample of the best tablet that exists,
Right,
made by
I feel
a
like
school
we
teacher
need to-
where we stay.
Right, we need to do an exchange here.
Because honestly, right, it's like there is I love tablet, right, so much, and the really really bad thing is that the only time that we can get it, right, so there's a school teacher that makes it, and she's like an angel when she bakes this tablet, right, and you can only ever get it at the street fair, which because we have like the street fair once a year. And then whenever
Christmas
there's like
events
blood
or something.
donations, right? So like if the blood people, I don't know what they're called, they come in to do like they collect blood stuff. I don't know
The
why I
blood
can't
people.
think.
You make them sound
That
like
would be
a
the
cult.
NHS.
when the
blood
NHS
people
come
are
to
here,
take
get
blood.
right.
But so then she'll put a stall on, and obviously because tablets basically just like sugar, that obviously helps because you're giving blood and stuff.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
literally, I will walk down, and I feel like she knows, and I will not give blood, and I'll be like, how many pieces or how many bars have you got? And she'll be like, I've got like this stuff here, I've got maybe like 20 to 30 in the box behind me, and I'm like, listen, see that box behind you? Just you take 10 out of that, hand it to me, don't even tell me how much, just take the money from my hand, and that's it. So
I've just googled it. I had to see what I was competing with here, and it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not like fudge?
It's
No?
very
So it's like sugar and butter made into a very soft biscuit
kind of. So it's good tablet, perfect tablet. It is like you bite. There's a crunch. There's a bit of like. It's like
it's
how
crunchy
did-
and soft.
It
Isn't
is.
it? You can't
It's like
describe
it's
it.
like the middle layer is like a kind of softish, but on
He's
the
chewing,
outside
he's
it
chewing.
needs to be hard. You need to bite into it and feel
Right.
a bit of a resistance. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I'm
just
with you.
You're the only one that's worth them, Phillipa.
honestly,
You're certainly
that's-
not.
No, it's actually I've googled it and it's come up with Kendall mint cake as something that people also search for. Has anyone had that?
No.
No, I feel like that's a southern thing. I think I've only had it at like my cousins that live just outside London. But
I feel like
that is the texture that I imagine when you say it. Like it's almost
Yes.
like a bit like gritty, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
But nice gritty.
Because you need to, because if the worst is, see when people don't melt the sugar enough and it literally is like crystally.
Yeah.
It feels like you're eating sand at that point.
It's disgusting.
no.
But the right one, it's like you bite it and then it crumbles and then
And
it
it
dissolves.
dissolves. Oh.
That is the perfect like. Oh.
Right,
That's
okay.
easy.
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
have to
God.
get on this now.
Just
I don't know.
all you need to
No one
do.
will probably ask for it, but I'll send it up to you guys. And you
Oh
can,
no!
you
Listen,
can give
all
me
you
out
need
of
to do
We'll
is
offer it all.
just tell me you've made it. Say a number. The number's going to end up in whatever, either your PayPal, your bank, however you accept payments. It'll end up in me inside my stomach, and I will be very grateful.
I think in exchange, so you've got a perfect sample. We'll get some of this tablet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I need to kind of make sure that I'm, it's going to have to be a free sample to make sure that I'm doing it justice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I don't
let's
know
be
if I
honest,
haven't-
you get a good sugar rush off it, so I think it is mostly sugar and butter.
Pretty
You
much.
certainly-
Yeah, it says like sugar, butter, and condensed milk, so pure health.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was just you touched on something that we've spoke about previously, and a lot of the running theme of this has been lockdown. We done an episode recently, plug, about COVID-19, and that's kind of how we started the podcast. And one thing I think that we need to kind of revisit and just mention is that as much as COVID-19 has been absolutely horrendous, what it's done to the world, there's been so many positives from it. The likes of yourself donating to the NHS, growing a passion that you already have into a small business. Similar to us, we started this as kind of messing about hobby whilst playing games, and we're now starting to see it grow into something. I think it's just worth touching on that it's had a positive impact on people as well, in such a negative environment. So hats off to you for doing it. I know it's not easy. I would struggle to do it on my own, and I've got these two numpties with me. So no, it's really cool.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Oh, aye. No, I'll better not say that. But
Continue.
What I was going to ask, so I was just wanting to ask a little bit about what the future holds, some plans, and possibly some ideas that we can maybe collab on and get your opinions. And then all we'll do is we close with it's a fun little question that we ask most of our guests. It's nothing to worry about, don't worry. But I just wanted to ask, so Bakes and Graze, where does it go from now? Obviously, you're back working full time. It's quite hard to juggle the both. Trust me, we know even with the podcast. What's your sort of future aspirations for it?
Making tablet.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one,
making tablet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, it's quite steady at the moment. It's quite a nice pace. I've got probably 2-3 orders a week, which all tend to fall on the weekend. So they tend to work quite well that I can do it after work hours, and it doesn't impact too much on kind of my regular day to day anyway. But yeah, obviously, as you know, as you get a bit more known, it's probably the same as you guys with the podcast, that as you get a bit more kind of traction, that things tend to pick up pace a bit. So naturally, it probably is going to get busier. I'm having a lot of people kind of request, at the moment, I only do the one size graze box, but I'm having a lot of people say they want to buy it as like a gift for someone, so they'd prefer like a slightly smaller one. So I'll probably look into kind of different sizing options.
Yeah, I looked and I thought, I hope there's a bigger one coming soon.
Yeah, also, look into bigger options as well. All my friends, you know, like whenever we get together, I'll always do like a spread, like whether it be sweet or savoury. I love putting like a colossal cheese board together, like cheese and cured meat.
Stop it. Stop
right,
it.
we have reached the pinnacle.
How do we get invited to one of these parties?
Is it physically possible to melt into a seat?
If you pay the train fare or the airfare down to Birmingham, obviously when COVID's all over and done with, you're more than welcome to join one of these parties.
Fuck it, if it's not over, I'll walk.
Listen, what we'll do, right, is I'll book an eye test. I mean, what I'll do is I will come down, right, and I will expect only two things. That's it, right? I don't expect anything other than a sample of tablet and a cheese board that you just mentioned, because I'm just thinking, like, because you know, as I said, that you're like the Michelin star to my Sunday League football, Premier League to you, right? I can just imagine you putting a cheese board together, like an absolute, oh my god, it's just, there's no words for what I'm thinking. Like, none of this, like, oh, here's a red Leicester and here's a brie. Oh, wow. Do you know what I mean? I can just imagine it.
It's like when people fill a cheese board with cheddar. Like, it's just, what are you doing?
They are the basics. Don't knock them. Don't knock them. They are.
There's
they
nothing
are
wrong with extra mature cheddar. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely not.
No. Ewan's a basic bitch, though.
No. Listen.
Whoa.
I will probably.
You've got a point, but
I will probably eat the extra, especially if it's like the extra mature cheddar. I will probably eat that first because I am a sucker for it. But if you start
super crumbly stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Is there any you don't eat?
No.
Mouldy
really.
Stuff.
No.
I'm a bit funny with that.
Right,
I can't eat the really strong stuff.
The more it smells, the better it tastes usually. So.
Yep, 100% agree with that one.
That's a rule I
Very
wouldn't
true.
apply to life.
See, I've got something to kind of touch on that I thought could possibly be a good idea going forward. As we're growing, we're wanting to do a bit more live content, a bit more face-to-face, a bit more interactive. And I've came up with an idea, right? And you need to tell me what you think about this, Phillipa.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, why don't we do an online cook along? So you take us through a cooking instruction, so that the three of us will be in a kitchen, right? And you've got a recipe and you talk us through and we bake with you.
I love that.
I think that would be hilarious. To be fair,
Yeah,
Ewan and I would
so
mess
good.
about. Bundy would actually take something serious and get so angry at us for messing about.
I'd have the apron on, and you'd be saying something, I'd be like, yes, chef. Like,
to be fair, we did type this out earlier on. I hadn't looked all the way down. It was saying need a cooking stream at some point or YouTube video, because Bundy here used to do a special cooking series, and it was just a sort of joke thing he would send to a video of him cooking, being really
so I used to
aggressive.
I used to do like, so like it was I done it through Snapchat, right? But I used to put on this like do you know how you get like a really like presenter kind of like accent, right?
Yeah,
and
I have a phone voice.
Literally, so I channeled that. So I used to be like, so for example, right, if I was cooking like an aloo pepperoncino or something, right, I'd be like, okay, so you're going to get the parsley, flat leaf parsley, we're going to put that, and we're going to use our mezzanine here, and we're going to just finely chop, make sure it's absolutely fantastic. We're going to lay the bowl in the pan with full of olive oil, and just add that there, bring it to a simmer, and just wow.
Where's your cooking show?
So that's what I mean, right? And then, like, I'd do that, right? But it would be like, and then I'd send it, like, and it would be literally about like 8 different Snapchat videos that would all come through at the same time. And then it would just, at the end of it would just be me, and I'd just have like an enormous fork full and just shove it in my face. But I would always.
Perfect, Craig. We could have a cook-off and we could be the judges. That fits perfectly.
Bundy versus Phillipa, and then me and you judge.
Perfect.
Exactly. Well, it'll be. Thank me later.
We will get this organised.
Have you ever seen the thing that it's like pro chef versus amateur chef? It's like that.
Can't wait.
No, that'd be a banger. I've got one last question, and then obviously we'll let you do a little bit of plugging of your socials, Phillipa. And it's a question we ask. To be honest, we should probably ask at the start of the recording because it breaks the tension a little bit.
I also have a different question before you ask that question, if that's alright, right?
Right, go on then, fire on.
Have you ever considered like going on like Twitch or YouTube and live streaming when you're baking this kind of stuff? Because believe it or not, professions on Twitch especially actually do really, really well. There's people who even do stuff like woodworking and all that kind of stuff, and they just literally have it on, and as they're going through they'll kind of like explain what they're doing and stuff, and people love it because that's it's like a cooking show without
it's an
the
interactive
bullshit.
TV series. Yeah, interactive. Yeah, you know what? I've never even thought of it.
Honestly, it's, and I know this is a wee bit like shameful of me to look at it this way, but if you done it and it was really, it was doing really well and you're promoting everywhere, and then you hit affiliate and then people can subscribe, and then you can do like a Patreon page where then people can sign up and it's like a monthly fee of £5 and you can send out recipes and stuff like that.
If you're baking anyway,
exactly.
Why not record it? Because it's like you're almost
true.
You're getting an advertisement. You can potentially make money just from people viewing it as entertainment, and then you're selling it on.
Exactly.
So, after this, give Craig a shout. He can tell you if we got affiliate. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, we were unprofessional. You'd get it no problem.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know what affiliate means, Phillipa, but it means you're like a paid partner to a website, so you can then it allows monetary value. But definitely, if somebody hasn't already taken note of that future episode, I think that would be an absolute banger, and you could kind of judge that as a starting point and see where you could go with it. But
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, final question, and it's an absolute banger of a question Ewan came up with in our very first episode. So you're going on a night out, okay? You're going to the pub, going to a restaurant, whatever. You've got 3 guests. They can be dead or alive. Who are they and why?
Okay, number 1, first to mind, Audrey Hepburn. She's like my favourite actress ever. Breakfast is like my number 1 favourite film. Oh God, 2 more.
See, I thought one of yours because of the discussion would be Mary Berry, and there's a funny story because I was speaking to Philip on the phone and we were both out working, and she was like this, Craig, I need to go. Mary Berry's just walked past me, and I was like, I was like she is the cooking woman, and I was
I can just imagine, like, even though so obviously I've only just like, your voice is the only thing I've got like so far to put, like I've got like your imaginary face, right? But I can just imagine you turning around in like a shop, I don't know why, and being like, my queen, to Mary Berry.
Well, she just hung up at me. She's like, I've got to go, and I was like, oh well, that'll be that then.
I was actually really gutted. So this time that Craig's on about was November just gone. So I was at a Christmas like shopping event at a garden centre that we were the brand that Craig and I work for stocked in, and it's quite close. It's only like I think a couple of miles from Soho Farmhouse, if you've heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a really like prestigious, like you have to pay something stupid like £10,000 to even be a member there, let alone anything else. And it's like a really fancy garden centre, and I had to like triple take to actually make sure it was her. And she was going at such a pace I didn't even get to catch her. And honestly, it's like one of the moments in life that I look back at and I'm just so ashamed that I didn't get a chance to say hello and tell her what a big fan I am. Yeah, Mary Berry could be up there, but I kind of feel like I'd have people that I'd want to speak to a bit more. I know it sounds awful when I'm really into baking, but I'm going to have to say both my granddads, just because they passed away when I was really young, and I'd just love to see them again. And
that's a nice call. That's a good
call.
So
yeah, bit sad, but yeah, I'd have to say that.
No, that's nice. That's very, very nice. You've been quite humble with some of the things that you've said, like the example of donating to the NHS and stuff like that. So that's nice. Usually our podcasts are wild and go out of hand, but it's nice to have a bit of humanity in this one.
Yeah, exactly. This is genuinely wholesome content. I like that.
Wholesome. See, you've tamed us. There you go.
This is one rare episode.
Saying that I'm absolutely starving.
I was just going to be like, do you know what? You're such a great person, right? You're so great. So when are you going to send? No, I'm joking. But
I'm getting on it.
If you see anyone sliding into those bacon DMs soon, it's probably me.
Well,
send pics of cakes, please.
Well, this fits in perfectly. Where can people find Bake and Graze Phillipa? What are your socials?
So I'm only actually on Instagram at the moment, just to try and streamline kind of ordering process. But I'm sure in the near future things will expand. So it's on Instagram at Bakes and Graze, all one kind of word. And yeah, hopefully another way that I'm hoping to expand it is one day you guys will be my test run for it, but hoping that one day I can end up delivering nationally would be amazing. So yeah, watch this space.
That'd be awesome.
And then we'll definitely do a streaming sort of episode. I think that'll be absolutely brilliant. I think that'll be
especially for us too, Craig, because we've managed to find an episode where we do nothing but film and then eat.
I think we should drink whilst they're doing it as well.
Oh, mate. We could do drink. We'll go do the drinks while they do the cooking.
Exactly.
We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to bake. We're gonna have to bake the gin and tonic drizzle.
Oh,
I would also just like to say I have just seen because I'm not gonna lie, I've been on your Instagram quite a lot this episode, right? Because it just looks good, and I have just seen something called brookies, and if you're going to tell me that you have combined brownies and cookies together,
wait, what?
You know it.
Oh my god.
Oh. Anyway, before Bundy explodes,
that was put nicely with a can.
Phillipa, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And, thank you for breaking my hosts.
He's sitting there with his head in his hands now. He's just put the phone down his head in his hand.
I don't know what to do. I need a brookie.
Guys, would you like to say anything to Phillipa before we close?
Thanks a lot for coming on. Really appreciate it. I ken Bundy's got a wee speech for you, but really glad you came on as someone who doesn't know a lot about baking. Really appreciative.
I am glad you came on, but at the same time I'm not glad you came on, because I am trying to save money, and this is going to be doing the exact opposite. It's been very, it's been really cool speaking to you, been really easy to get along with and easy to talk to, so thank you very much, I appreciate it.
No laughed at any of the daft laddie questions.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Thank you for everyone tuning in. This has been episode 17 of the Time In Podcast with Phillipa from Bakes and Graze, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So Phillipa, myself and the guys at the Time In Podcast want to try your marketing. Bundy?
Bakes and Graze, gotta get me some Bakes and Graze. To the tune of Step Brothers.